Well, hi everyone, I'm CBS19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony with this weather impact alert update. Just about 6 minutes past 8 o'clock here on this Thursday, November 20th, with finally a severe thunderstorm warning just issued for Anderson County on a cell right now that may have some winds that are topping 58 miles an hour. Maybe some hail inside there, bigger than quarters. It's Anderson County till 8:45. City of Palestine will be directly impacted by this storm as it moves south and eastward. Also, you can see Elkhart in the path of that storm moving out to the east along Highway 84. Jacksonville would be outside of the severe thunderstorm warned area. But if the storm continues in its current trajectory, then it would head over toward Jacksonville probably within the next, say, 45 minutes or so. Rain now just starting to move into Tyler, up toward the northwest, toward Lindale, over toward Hawkins. Heavier rain over toward Mineola, back toward Opelika, Moore Station, and Frankston. Let me pan down here just a little bit on that warned storm in parts of Anderson County. And again, right on through this area. Look at all that lightning. So there's a lot of rainfall, heavy rainfall, probably rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour. Wind gusts again, maybe 58 miles an hour. Let me put a little track on this for us here and see exactly when it could make it into some locations just off to the south and east. We're going to follow the path of the outline that is drawn there on the maps. Again, if it's moving to the southeast at around roughly 38 miles an hour, that's going to take it into areas such as Natchez at about 8:10 this evening, Elkhart around 8:18. We've got Salmon, Mound City in the path of that storm by 8:42, Rusk about 9 or 8:54, and Atoy right around 9:12 this evening. So those showers and thunderstorms are going to continue moving southeast. You can expect some gusty winds out of those showers and thunderstorms. And again, a little bit of hail possible. Let me just double check the hail core inside that storm and see if we've got anything. A couple of little hail cores showing up here west of Palestine, another smaller core just off to the north. Let me zoom in a little bit and give you a better idea. So that's moved out of Harmony. In Harmony, you may have experienced a little bit of hail. We'll come in just a little bit farther. Right at there at Palestine Municipal Airport, they're getting a little bit of hail. That's just going to be west of the loop, and so that'll likely track right on through Palestine here within the next, say, half hour or so. All right, back to radar. I'll widen things back out here. Again, that's the strongest storm we have right now. Pushing this back up here. I also want to look at the showers and thunderstorms and their direction and their movement. Again, this cell moves through Anderson County. We do have additional showers that have formed in parts of eastern Smith County that have tracked now into Gregg County. Moving into the city of Longview, they'll continue moving up to the northeast. Nothing severe here, but the lightning is increasing on this thunderstorm that has moved out of Kilgore, or is currently just moving out of Kilgore, into Longview. So in Longview, you're going to get some heavy downpours. You're going to hear thunder. You're going to see flashes of lightning. That'll head up toward Harleton and eventually over toward Jefferson. There's lighter rain back here toward Gilmer. North of Interstate 20 in the Lindale area right now, we're also seeing some very heavy rain moving out of Van. And look at that cell right there that's moving right across Mineola. It looks like the south end of Lake Fork. That'll head up to Winsboro. If you're watching from Winsboro, you're also going to get some heavy rain out of this. We have a small threat for one or two of these storms to start rotating, perhaps causing a spin up, but it's a really, really low threat. I think the bigger threat here is what we're seeing would be these straight line winds, especially when you look at just how sharply defined that line is right there in Anderson County. And even at this, it just looks like it's getting a little more ragged here in the last couple of radar passes. So hopefully we don't get any kind of wind damage out of there, but that would certainly be a possibility. Another concern here tonight would be the heavy rainfall. The rainfall rates have been in, again, that 1 to 2 inch an hour rainfall totals. And let me see if we got estimated rainfall. At least this is going to be from earlier today, last 12 hours or so since the rain has started. It'll take a minute for the data to load into the map. But when it does, you'll see here these purple areas. We may have already had about an inch of rainfall in northwestern parts of Rusk County, southwestern Gregg County. It's going to be estimated. If there was any hail in that cell, that is going to be what we call hail contaminated data. So there might be less rain than that, but the hail sometimes it reflects a little bit brighter, and so it looks like it's rained just a little bit heavier. And that would go up toward Linden. You've got very heavy rain in the Dallas area, out toward McKinney. There's 3+ inches of rainfall. Elsewhere, it's been fairly, I'd say, light, but it's not going to stay that way. If you haven't had much rain yet, you'll get some, and you'll get some in the order of about an inch of rainfall. I mean, look at all this rain coming in right now into Smith County, west side of Smith County. In fact, let me zoom in here on Tyler proper. We'll go right into the loop And look at the loop. There's Tyler Pounds raining now at the airport. Swan raining, pouring down rain at Lindale and Carroll and New Harmony. Chandler, that's a steady, moderate rain. But the rain is very light, maybe just a few sprinkles over toward New Chapel Hill and White House and out toward Browning. And then you get over toward Overton and Liberty City. Again, they did have some rain move through that area, and now it has moved up into the Kilgore area and also White Oak and Longview and then Lakeport. So lightning has increased, downpours here. This little, what we call a Titan indicator, just tells us that the storm is on the strengthening phase. Not to say it's going to become suddenly a supercell, but it is strengthening enough that we'll keep an eye on it for you as it continues moving off to the northeast toward Judson and Ashland and over toward Hallsville. And as I widen the radar back out here just a little bit, back toward Frankston and Moore Station, you can see there's some lightning also increasing on that. And again, here's another one of those Titan indicators on the cell inside the severe thunderstorm warned portion of this storm in Anderson County. Let me see if we can get a look inside that. We can kind of get some data. Precipitation rate, for instance, is running roughly at about 3/4 of an inch an hour. Let's see if we can get some other data out of that storm. And you'll see here the maximum hail size out of this storm may indeed be about 3/4, maybe closer to not quite quarters, but getting close to that. 80% chance that there's hail inside. I did show you that little small hail core that was moving on the west side of Palestine. The probability that any of this hail is reaching 1 inch in diameter is only 30%. The wind impact, there is some gusty winds inside of that. The hail impact and the heavy rain impact are the bigger of the two impacts. The tornado threat right now, at least inside that storm, is considered to be 0 at this time. So that's certainly good. Not a lot of rotation in that. It is just merely more so, I would say, but flattening out and becoming a very strong line of showers and thunderstorms. Over toward Jefferson, over toward Shreveport, up toward Texarkana, Mount Pleasant, back to Sulphur Springs. Maybe throw this back into motion for us, and you'll see the general movement of that from the southwest to the northeast. And these cells have strengthened. They're trying to sort of join up and just become a longer or a larger area of thunderstorms, almost a cluster of thunderstorms. I don't want to call it quite a complex, but clusters of thunderstorms, and then this jagged line of showers now pushing out here. There's a little bit of maybe some gusty winds across northern parts of Smith County. Let me zoom in on that for us here. Take a look at that. It's going to be up toward Hawkins and Gladewater. There might be maybe a 35, 40 mile an hour wind gust rating here coming into Hawkins. Another little, like, you can just see how the cell sort of pushes out here. So right in there, that's where I think there could be a stronger, maybe just a little bit larger or stronger wind gust as it heads into eastern Smith County, northeastern parts of Smith County. Troop right now, just some light rain, but you're going to get into all of this rain down here. I'll pause this for us. So when I pause this, what I'll do is I'll bring it up to the latest data. Let me draw a longer line on these showers and thunderstorms and kind of give us a broad overview of what we're looking at here. So with that in mind, we will start it north and east of Tyler, draw it back to where that severe thunderstorm warning is in Palestine, and then push that out. Remember, this is moving at 38 to 40 miles an hour. So you're generally looking at the arrival time on these storms in this ballpark here. We're looking at Jacksonville at about 8:17, Gilmer right around 8:28, White Oak 8:44, Kilgore around 8:48, and then a little bit later into the evening, Longview around 9:01, Harleton around 9:16, and Pine Hill at about 9:34. And so as these storms get closer to the Arklatex on the northern end, we do see a potential for some weakening in that storms. But again, the severe thunderstorm warning goes until 8:45. That is in Anderson County, and there are no other watches or warnings in effect, meaning we don't have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. We don't have any other severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. So let me zoom in on here. This is Lake Palestine. You can see the heavier rain coming right across Frankston, south end of Lake Palestine, down toward Brownsboro, up toward Carroll and Mineola. And then as we give you just the bigger view of everything, that's it. This is the cluster of showers and thunderstorms here tonight that's moving through. One warning on all of this. A couple of other showers trying to fire up down here in parts of deep East Texas across Angelina County, San Augustine County, and Sabine County. 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rainfall in some parts of this area. This is really round 2 of 3 rounds of rain. We had one this morning, one that's coming in right now, and then early tomorrow morning there will be a 3rd round right around the daybreak hours of Friday that could impact rush hour tomorrow morning or headed off to school. You might be driving into some rain. You might have the rain gear ready to go tomorrow morning. It looks like we could have a couple of hours of off and on rain showers from, let's say, Athens to Tyler over toward Longview and then eastward. And then as we get closer to the noon hour, the showers shift off to the southeast down toward Lufkin and over toward Hemphill. So yeah, a lot of rainfall coming down right now. Let me go ahead and go to the next graphic here. We'll show you the winds out of the south, generally about 9 miles an hour. A little stronger sustained wind at Palestine, closer to that severe part of the storm, currently at about 17 miles an hour. And if I look at future skycast, I had this backed up at 6 o'clock, but here's what we want to look at. We're coming up on 8 o'clock right now, and it's looking a lot like our future skycast. So radar looks like future skycast. We've got the severe thunderstorm warning in Anderson County. You've got the cell stretching back into western parts of Smith County. You notice that little bulge that I just talked about with the wind possibly being a little stronger in eastern parts of Smith County. So that's starting to show up here on our radar. But by 11 o'clock, notice how fast the storm moves out. Notice how fast things quiet down behind it. Then we get into Friday morning, and you've got this next cluster of showers and thunderstorms coming through with the front. Notice the temperatures here. We have south winds, temperatures tomorrow morning in the 70s. Those are summer-like numbers. Then you come back here, still south winds on the other side of this area of rain and thunder. So the front not quite pushing through here really until maybe later Friday. Notice the winds now out of the west, back to the west of Canton and Emory, west-southwest, and a south wind out ahead of that over toward Jefferson. Now finally we're into a westerly wind. Drier air is coming in, less humid air is coming in, and the sun is out. If you have any plans to go to high school football tomorrow night, plans to be outside, if there are some light displays that are starting tomorrow evening, it's dry and clear. There is no threat of rain tomorrow or Saturday. Don't worry about that. Saturday morning, we now have a north wind, and we have temperatures dropping into the lower to mid 50s. And then as we head into Saturday afternoon, high temperatures, at least in our in-house model, advertising mid 60s to mid 70s. I feel like we're going to probably be in the lower 70s here in East Texas and Tyler and Longview. With a northwest wind and lots of sunshine, sometimes it's kind of difficult to get our temperatures that cool unless you've got a really big push of cool air, and I just don't see that happening. And then by Sunday at noon, we have temperatures warming back up to around 65 degrees. We'll warm into the 70s on Sunday. And then Monday, we have another chance for showers and thunderstorms coming in. So it's a 50% chance of rain tomorrow, and then it's an 80% chance of rain Monday. So Monday looks like a very wet day. Some of the data trying to point to some leftover showers Tuesday over deep East Texas. There's more data that suggests that the rain will not be moving into the area, or will be moving out of the area before we make it to Tuesday morning. But I want to show you this setup here for Monday. There's a lot of rainfall setting up for Monday with widespread rain that could be very impactful when it comes back to travel. If you're driving anywhere across the southern plains or even across Texas, you may be running into plenty of rainfall in that time frame. Back to CBS 19 Live radar here. We've got showers, a couple thunderstorms pushing back to the west of Tyler. Also over toward Elkhart, we have that severe thunderstorm warning for the next 25 minutes in Anderson County. That storm now starting to move into northwestern parts of Cherokee County. So let me pause that for us, and we're going to zoom in down to western parts of Cherokee County on that heavier thunderstorm. That should be arriving in Jacksonville most likely in the next 15 minutes or so. Expect heavy rain, a little bit of hail in there, and some gusty winds potentially up to about 55 to 60 miles an hour. But just looking inside that cell as we speak, let me look at the velocities inside that cell and see what we can pick out here. Not a lot. Looks like it could be a little on the stronger side. This is our wind tracker. Let me, I just want to kind of take a sample of the winds. All right, so 44 miles an hour is what we're getting out of those wind speeds right now, and that would be right here to the east of Palestine, working their way across eastern Anderson County into western parts of Cherokee County. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning just issued. So let me get a hold of that and see where that's going to be. Okay, so we have a new one. And now we have a line on here which should be a little concerning for us, okay? So we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Cherokee and Smith County. They've added this flashing, this line here, which suggests that there is the potential for a tornado possible. So obviously we have some rotation showing up within that cell. Let me see if we can get back to that. And I may have frozen the radar here, but we'll go to a different image. And once we switch the image out, then we'll be able to get a better idea on what we're looking at inside this cell. But again, that's going to be Cherokee, Smith County till 9:15, severe thunderstorm warned cell. And you know, after what we had a couple weeks ago where we had the tornado touchdown northwest of Lindale or north of Lindale, and then another one toward Kilgore, almost unannounced, sometimes very difficult to see under the radar exactly what we're looking at here. And so we might want to switch over to Max 2 if we can. Looks like we're going to have our one computer here crash out on us. So we'll give you a look here at Max 2 and I'll be able to control that there. All right, so as we do that, you can see the severe thunderstorm warned portion of the cell right in here. And that's going to track into Jacksonville and Palestine and north and eastward. So southeastern Smith County, that would include Troop. I think ARP's going to be included in that. Flint, Bullard should be in that part of that warning. Then Jacksonville, and then it should move up to the southwest of Henderson, so not quite into Rusk County, but it's on that cell there. Let me just move something around here and get a look inside that storm and see as to what the National Weather Service is seeing in there to issue the tornado possible tag on that, and why they're also looking at that potentially. Let me see if we can get this to work in there. That's not going to work for us. Okay, all right. So let me go back. Radar. Still waiting for our other radar image, or so for our other computer to come back up. So take a look at that. We'll stay on with that for right now, and we will. Oops, I don't want to do that. Let me go back over here. Just give me a minute, as it looks like we've got a computer that's locked up. We need to edit that task. That'll close down this program. We'll reopen it here in just a second, and then we'll be back up and running. But we're still looking at the severe thunderstorm warning in Cherokee and Smith County till 9:15. And again, with that line on there, the National Weather Service is saying tornado possible, so there must be some stronger rotation in there. Interesting on that cell, because when we looked at it, the tornado potential, at least inside with our cell, or with our Titan indicator. Okay, so it's moving into an area where it's a bit more favorable for severe weather development. But Palestine and the airport there had a wind gust of 46 miles an hour. So what we showed you with the sample on our wind gust was pretty accurate in terms of the winds at 44 miles an hour. So the Weather Service sampled 46. But it's the fact that this cell is moving into an area where there's a little bit more wind shear tonight. And so that's what's there's no indication that there's a tornado possible with that cell. It's just the environment that it's moving into. So we're going to be just a little on the overly cautious side with that, especially considering what we saw a couple weeks ago. The distance that our radar is from Shreveport and Fort Worth makes it very challenging sometimes for any forecaster to pick out exactly some of these features. Sometimes our radar beam, because it is shooting almost 6,000 feet in the air, can overshoot anything at a lower elevation on these storms. And so as a result, what you'll end up getting is something that would spin up down closer to the surface. All right, we'll go back to our other computer now. It's ready to go. And I do have a bit of more data on there, and you'll be able to track the winds here with it. And so again, essentially what we're looking at might be, so this part of the storm here at Frankston, and then this cell as it moves northeastward. As it does move northeastward, what essentially that it's looking at is that bright green area, and then this bright green area moves into the environment that would be more conducive for potentially a tornado. Doesn't mean that there's a tornado. It just says tornado possible. But again, it's really due more, in fact, or more in line because of the environment, not because of any feature that's showing up in that thunderstorm right now. I don't see any. If it's rotation, there's broad rotation. It's more of a straight line wind threat here in that part of the cell that's south and east of Palestine. But again, when we sampled it and the Weather Service sampled it, it's 45 miles an hour at the strongest winds. So that's where if we look at it in a different realm here, you'll see there's not a lot of features. Now, there are these little inflow notches, and sometimes as these thunderstorms move into those environments, they start ingesting more warm and humid air, and the air is changing with height or changing with direction or speed with height. And as it does, we can have these little, I mean, it could be a quick little spin up on the leading edge of that. So very hard to tell, but it's sort of a heads up. It's a pre-heads up as to something that could happen. And it looks like it's going to be focused right on that part of the cell that I'm looking at here on the leading edge. So right in here, those little notches would be what we'd have to be concerned about. That's the severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 9:15 for Jacksonville. So let me zoom in on Jacksonville, and you can see it's just west of downtown. It's Cove Springs, CUNY, and Hume would be more in line for that. Todd City and Natchez right now in Frankston. And then there's our Titan indicator. Let's go in on our Titan indicator. I just want to see what it is picking up on within that severe thunderstorm warning. So the hail size is getting closer to a quarter. There is hail inside that storm. Again, our Titan indicator says the tornado impact here is 0, but there are some gusty winds, hail, and heavy rainfall also coming down with that. So if the rotation's there, it is very, very weak inside this cell, at least as we apply an algorithm to this cell and use what we would look at. The storm, or this indicator here, is looking inside the storm. It's using an algorithm assessing the wind speed. It's assessing the structure of the storm. It's assessing the downdraft potential of the storm, and then it's coming up with that end result of a 0 on that. But more wind, gusty winds, yes, 40, 45 miles an hour, what we're seeing with that cell right now. And again, that's on that cell that's going to be moving into this other part of the area of Smith County. So Cherokee and Smith County remain under that severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15, and that stays west of Rusk County and Henderson and Cushing and Alto. So just a wider view again. I'm going to throw this back into motion so I can assess what we're seeing here. I might turn off our Titan indicators for just a second, just to give us a better look and not get caught up on those features as they spin by. But you can see here at Tyler and over toward Texarkana, Mount Pleasant, it's kind of a line of showers and storms. Let me see if I can bring up a different piece of data that I don't have loaded in, but I can easily bring it into the system. We'll look at that and maybe be able to give us sort of an idea. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. We call this, so it's essentially looking at the amount of storm energy inside a storm, and it's also looking at the amount of wind shear in the storm, and then it assesses a potential for rotation. And so it is seeing that. It's picking it up here, but it's on the low to moderate side. There's a secondary cell here, man, from Van Zandt County up toward Smith County. So yeah, there's a little bit of potential rotation those storms are moving into, and that's why you get that severe thunderstorm warning, especially in that one area. I'm not sure I can zoom down on this, but in that one area there, it gets a little bit brighter. It gets up into that blue area there. So it's a little elevated in southern Smith County right now. So that's why we're seeing this uptick or this severe thunderstorm warning that they've placed here with that, what we call a tornado tag on it. So that's good to know. It's a good piece of data to see. 74 degrees right now in Tyler. The dew point's an important number to look at. We're in the mid 60s with dew points that high. We tend to have a lot of juice in the air that would support thunderstorms across the area. The amount of storm energy here is limited. It's on the weak side. So if this was springtime, if we had moderate to strong storm energy with that wind shear that we're seeing out there right now, yeah, we might have a tornado warning that would be issued. But at this time, it just looks like we're lacking a couple of ingredients, but certainly worth watching as we head into the next few minutes. We've got about 14 minutes to go on the severe thunderstorm warning in Anderson County, and then over in Cherokee and Smith County till 9:15. You've got that secondary severe thunderstorm warned portion of the storm, and that's going to be right into Jacksonville right now. Let me get a pretty good track on this part of the storm now that we've got the radar all back up and it's reset. Again, these are moving out to this part of the cell is really moving more so east to northeast at 38 miles an hour. And so this may be moving toward Craft and Troop and Gallatin. 8:35 at Craft, 8:47 at Troop, 9 o'clock at Gallatin, Turnertown about 9:10, and Crimcrest around 9:27, Henderson at 9:30, and Henderson or Laneville at 9:46 on that cell. So let me clear this all off for us. Okay, that's not going to be cooperative, is it? There it goes. All right. So I'll throw it back into motion one more time. I'm kind of assessing. Yeah, there is rotation there. Let's look at this again. That's a larger cell. It does have a little bit. If you look carefully at it here with me, you can see how it looks like it's just kind of spinning a little bit off the top end, but it is starting to. It looks like weaken on the leading edge. Lightning certainly is concentrated on that one area. I would bet that if we stop the radar here, pull it up to the currents, and look at our hail potential and hail tracker, we're likely going to get a little bit of hail in there. Yeah, so there's a little bit of hail showing up, but none out in the area. But again, this is basically a severe thunderstorm warning for the potential, sure for winds, yes, but the potential here is more so because it's moving into an area where there is some turning of the atmosphere. So as that storm moves into that region, that's why it'll be watched. Otherwise, rest of the area, no other severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect. There are no tornado watches in effect. There are no severe thunderstorm watches in effect, but it doesn't mean that you can't have a warning or two issued thanks to some of the way that the cells are migrating across the area and some of the environment they're moving into. I just showed you the dew points. We have a lot of juice in the atmosphere tonight. And so as a result, we're seeing some of those thunderstorms. All right, let me go check Facebook, see if there's any questions. Is anybody watching with us tonight here as those showers and thunderstorms start to rumble into the Tyler area? Okay. All right, let me flip this over then to the script. We're gonna talk something about this that's going on in Smith County, and we had a large fire out by Tyler Pounds Airport, and there were some evacuations that were ongoing north of the airport on a county road that would be north also for Tyler Pounds. Okay, all right. So let me get this for you. Let me zoom in first on Tyler Pounds, and then I'll talk more about what we're talking about here. So I'll zoom in, get down to Tyler Pounds on the showers. Okay. Just there it is. So we have Tyler Pounds up here. So this is the area that we're going to be talking about. Large fire. So the airport's here. There's a fire, large industrial fire out in this area. So we're following breaking news out of Smith County tonight, where emergency officials are ordering an evacuation because of this large industrial fire. The fire is burning at a plastic grounding and oil product refining plant near Highway 64 West and west of Toll 49. Or close to the Tyler Pounds Regional Airport. All right, so officials say the flames are creating hazardous smoke. That makes sense. Residents in the evacuation zone should leave immediately. That zone runs along County Road 1147 to FM 724 and north to County Road 1151. You see those on your screen there, okay? Multiple agencies are on scene, including the Smith County Fire Marshal's Office, Tyler and Lindale Fire Departments, and ESD2. A shelter is opening at 9 o'clock at Pleasant Retreat United Methodist Church. That's located at 417 County Road 1143. Let me repeat that. The shelter's opening at 417 County Road 1143. All right, it's for anyone who has to leave their house because of the evacuation. Smith County has also sent out an emergency pause alert to people in the affected area. We're going to continue to update as we learn more, but again, it's because of this industrial fire at a plastic and oil refining plant, and there's a live picture, or some of the pictures that we had earlier. Let's go back to that video here, and this is what we're talking about. You can see that large fire that burning in that area. Video came to us a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if this is still ongoing. It looks like this was edited together here, but you can see the firefighters throwing water on top of that. The rain and heavy to moderate rain has finally showed up, and it is raining on top of that fire right now. Hopefully, what could happen is we had south winds about 10 to 15 miles an hour that pushed that hazardous smoke northward, right away from Tyler Pounds up into this area of Smith County. The fire should knock the fire down, but also take the smoke particles and push those down to the surface. And as the winds fade behind the main area of rain, then the smoke should dissipate or at least suppress or hover in this area and become more confined. All right, so if we still had strong winds out of the south, you'd be talking about this smoke just kind of moving out into northwestern parts of Smith County. But because now it's raining on that area, the smoke that has dispersed from here should begin to dissipate, and the rain should take the smoke, the particles down to the earth, and it should help to put the fire out faster with the help of firefighters. And of course, if you're getting Mother Nature's help, you're getting a lot of help here. All right, so let me start from the top here. We'll go over all of this again just in case you're joining us. It's 8:37 on this Thursday night, November 20th, and we are talking about a fire out toward Tyler Pounds Airport. All right, so the fire is burning at a plastic grounding and oil product refining plant, and that is an industrial fire out in that area here. Several evacuations have been ordered in and around. So let me go back to that evacuation area toward where it is. All right, so, you're going to look at County Road 1147 to FM 724 north to 1151, County Road 1151. There are multiple agencies on the scene, including Smith County Fire Marshal's Office, Tyler and Lindale Fire Departments, and ESD2. The shelter opening here in about 20 minutes at Pleasant Retreat United Methodist Church, and that's going to be located at 417 County Road 1143 for anyone that has been forced to leave their home or evacuated tonight. All right, so Smith County has also sent out a pause alert. So that pause alert is an emergency alert for areas, people in the affected area. We're going to continue to update the story as we learn more. And of course, we'll have more on CBS 19 News at 10 o'clock tonight and streaming on CBS 19 Plus. So, all right, so we're going to go back to the radar here, and we'll wrap this up here as we continue to watch these couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. No warnings right now, at least in the Tyler area, or at Tyler Pounds, or at noonday, or over at Swan. You'll notice the White House, however, is in the severe thunderstorm warned area right now. So I'll widen it back out. New Chapel Hill, not currently under that severe thunderstorm warning. But the severe thunderstorm warning in Smith County goes until 9:15. There's also a severe thunderstorm warning in Anderson County until 8:45. Some of the cities included in the severe thunderstorm warning in Smith County and in parts of Cherokee County would be Mount Selman, Jacksonville, New Summerfield. We had White House included in that. And you'll notice those black lines going through the box. That indicates that there is a tornado possible with this cell. Now, why is it? Are we seeing something? Is there a lowering? No. This cell is simply moving into an area with higher, what we call wind shear, or a change of wind direction or wind speed with height. So from the surface, the higher up we go into that thunderstorm, winds are increasing a little bit, or perhaps even changing from more east-southeast being pulled into the storm back to the northwest or to the southwest. And you can also see the amount of lightning. Sometimes the amount of lightning will indicate how strong this updraft is within that storm. If the updraft is stronger, then what that would be an indication of is that we would have the possibility of seeing a rotating thunderstorm. And if there's rotation in the thunderstorm, then sometimes you can end up with a quick spin-up tornado. So right now, again, not a big threat, but it is in an area that has a little better, let's say, storm energy and some ingredients for that. In fact, the storm energy, if I looked at that on a whole, is somewhat weaker. So let me get some new information from the National Weather Service. They are saying they're looking at the potential for winds up to 60 miles an hour. They've done some close-up analysis showing some higher storm relative helicities is what I'm talking about there. In the lower layer up into the mid layers of the storm, they're not seeing anything resembling a tornado threat right now, as I've mentioned on radar. And even though the parameters are marginal, damaging winds are more likely. There was a 40-knot wind gust at Palestine earlier, so it equates to about a 44, 45 mile an hour wind gust. So yeah, again, it's more based on the environment and not so much on what is being observed by radar right now. I'm going to turn off our warnings. Just remember, we have a severe thunderstorm warning till 9:15 for Cherokee and Smith County, and another severe thunderstorm warning in Anderson County. Because what I want to do here is we want to go look at the winds and the wind speeds inside this storm, and then we are going to sample a couple of the areas inside the storm. So we'll look at this area here southwest of Jacksonville, where we've got a 53 mile an hour wind gust possible there. That gate-to-gate shear is on the weaker side, but still at 53 mile an hour wind gust is approaching severe limits. We've got a 37 mile an hour wind gust back behind the storm a little bit, closer to, where was that? West of Jacksonville, near Palestine. We've got a wind gust here southeast of Palestine at 55 miles an hour. And let's see, let me erase that for us. And it looks like right now the best concentration of those winds are going to be southwest of Jacksonville. And so essentially right in this area here. This is where we're seeing 53 to 55 mile an hour winds. So right in that area, southwest of Jacksonville, moving into western Cherokee County, and then south and east of Palestine. So that's the area that has about the best chance to potentially see some damaging wind gusts currently. All right, again, we have the warning going till 8:45, so about 3 more minutes on the Anderson County storm, and then the other storm will go for about a half hour. So just got a question here from Matthew Satterwhite over in Longview. What's the chance of these storms going toward Longview, or will they stay more toward Henderson? Well, I think you've already seen some through Longview, so I believe that you'll see some of these storms moving into Longview also as the night goes on. I think all of us will see at least some rain, at least from, say, Henderson and Alto and Cushing and maybe Nacogdoches northward. Some of us in Deep East Texas may have to wait until tomorrow before we get to see more showers and thunderstorms coming through here. All right, let me see. We've got some questions here. Lightning is vivid here in southeast Tyler. Robbie Williams, thank you. There was lightning in South Tyler, not just any rain yet, according to Kay Collins. Thank you. So I can go to sleep in Ore City. Micah, yes, I think you're fine at Ore City. Jacqueline says we need rain by Tyler Airport as soon as possible. And we talked about the rain moving in there. It was just a little while ago, so hopefully there's heavy rain is helping out. Did an update on the fire near the airport. We did update that there have been some evacuations ordered out in that area, and also some a shelter set up, an emergency shelter has been set up, and that they did send out, Smith County sent out an emergency evacuation order for folks living. It's going to essentially be north of Highway 64. So if that's running east and west, and the airport would lie to the south of it. So north of Highway 64, the fire is north of Highway 64, but then the area where the smoke was being pushed by the wind was up to the north and west of that. The rain, however, I believe will help to suppress and keep that smoke, knock it down a little bit, and also knock down the ability for the particulates to spread in the air. Just got a question on what about cumulative totals on the rainfall? So let me look right here. We just had one before, and I'll widen it out here. Again, some of this may be what we call hail contaminated, but you can see these areas in blue and purple are going to be 1 to maybe 1.5. Again, 1.6 seems high. So I know it's poured rain here, but I have a feeling there was a little bit of hail in there. So that's a little bit of hail contamination. Where we've seen this heaviest rain here coming in recently, it's been about 3/4 of an inch to 1.25 inches. Again, that's radar estimated. If you have a rain gauge at home and you can give us your real number that you are factually measuring in your gauge, so we can correlate that. So if it says, right here, 1.25 to 1.5, if I had a total somewhere in northeastern Anderson County that also jibed with that, then we would know that would be right on the money. same thing in Longview. If we were in that 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rainfall and somebody had a 2-inch rainfall total, then that would correlate pretty well. So I think some of this may be a little hail contaminated. The other bits could be actual rainfall. So we'll sort that out, of course, as we head through time. All right, so severe thunderstorm warning over for Anderson County. You're done for the night for any type of warning. Still have this severe thunderstorm warning for Cherokee and Smith County until 9:15 tonight, and that is on a cell that is currently moving right through Jacksonville with very heavy rainfall. Last night, I showed an image of rainfall amounts, and it had in two separate bands of rain that came through, and Jacksonville picked up nearly 5 inches of rainfall out of both of those. So I don't know that that's going to happen, but if you pick up a quick 1 to 2 inches of rainfall in Jacksonville tonight off of this, I would not be shocked. That's how hard it's raining. And it looks like the heaviest rain's about to move back up into the southwest side of Tyler here, with thunder and lightning also coming down at this time. By the way, I really appreciate everyone who's been watching on CBS 19 Plus, has stayed with us throughout this stream as we brought you updates on the fire and also brought you updates on our weather. Also, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, thank you very much. If you'd like, go ahead, like and subscribe to our channel. We do these updates when the weather is active across the area. Got another question from Rob Williams. He's wondering about that tornado possible storm that's near Jacksonville, hoping it stays southeast of Southeast Tyler and Old Troop Highway area. Well, currently, if you look at it, it looks like it will at least stay south and east of those areas. But let me track that for you again, Rob, and we'll give you an idea of what we're looking at here. This whole cell itself is working its way northeast as most of the rain has been moving, or thunderstorms have been moving, roughly in the order of about 30 to 35 miles an hour. And so Kraft and New Summerfield, Turnertown, New London, and Henderson would be more in line with those showers and thunderstorms, and not, say, the southeastern part of Tyler. All right, let's see. Rain has settled down a little bit in Palestine, according to Dame Robinson, but still going northeast, I think. Yes, it is. Mike Finch wants to know if that Jacksonville storm is headed toward Upshur County. No, it is not. It is headed more so toward Rusk and Gregg County, and then eventually over toward Harrison County. And let's see if any other questions out here. We had some vivid lightning earlier. It looks like that has calmed down just a little bit. Let me clear out the town names there. We'll go back and investigate a couple of other areas, and I'll widen things out. Okay, we'll try this again. Well, here we go. Looks like we've got some computer issues here. Every once in a while that will happen. We'll overload the circuit, so to speak, where we put a lot of demands on it, click a lot of buttons. It's trying to think faster than, I'm moving more buttons than what it can potentially or possibly keep up with. So let's zoom in on our camera tool here, and we'll zoom down. I want to get rid of that severe thunderstorm warning. The overall trend here was, once these showers and thunderstorms get northeast of Tyler, once they get northeast of the Tyler area, these storms are forecast to weaken quickly. I mean, this is just a cluster of rain and thunderstorms, right? And so these showers here have weakened. And so once these get into Rusk County and then over into Harrison County for sure, and into Panola County, these should weaken. So that's about as strong as that storm is going to be for about the next half hour or so, with that severe thunderstorm warning on it until 9:15. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We'll take a break. We've got to get ready, of course, for our CBS 19 news at 10 o'clock, and we'll get that all set up. We'll have an update coming up probably about 9:15. Look for that on CBS 19. With a weather impact alert update. Thank you for watching our live coverage here of the fire, also of our thunderstorms as they move through East Texas. If that storm that we continue to watch in southeastern parts of Smith County, northern Cherokee County, becomes stronger or looks a little more threatening in terms of a tornado, we will hop back on this stream, and if there is a tornado warning issued, we'll hop onto CBS 19. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.